I'm 83 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that might upset you. Getting older doesn't work the way people say it does. And the worst part? The people who should be telling you this, your teachers, your parents, society, they're either lying to you or they don't know it themselves. You see, I spent the first 76 years of my life believing all the lies, the same lies you probably believe right now. I thought I had it all figured out. I had a good job, good career, a nice house, everything you could ask for. And now, being retired, I had time. But at 76, something happened which broke everything inside of me, everything I thought I knew was wrong. And what I have discovered in the 7 years since that day has changed how I see life, death, and everything in between. But before I tell you my story, I need you to understand something important. The reason I'm making this video isn't to make myself wise or impress you. I'm making this because I don't have much time left, and there are things you need to hear before you have the same quiet regret I have. Not for me, for you. At 76, I was talking with my grandson. He's only 6 years old, but he is the most energetic person I know. I was talking about his interests when he asked a question out of the blue, which made me feel lightheaded. The next thing I remember is my daughter asking me if I was okay. I said yes, but I was really lying. My grandson then started talking about something else he was doing, but I honestly couldn't tell you what it was, because that question he asked me is something I will never forget until the day I die. That night, lying in bed next to my wife, I couldn't sleep. The question kept on replaying inside my head. I had nothing to do that night except think, and it made me realize something so terrifying. That's when I realized I hadn't lived a quiet life. I had lived a narrow one. I was just going through the motions, having the same ordinary life every single day, with nothing changing. And here's the part that still haunts me to this day. If my grandson never asked me that question, nothing would have changed. I would still be living the exact same ordinary life. And what would I leave behind? I had little to no memories. I had no stories to tell people. And you're probably wondering what question my grandson asked me. What he said to me that day 7 years ago was, "Pops, how come you never tell stories to me like Nana does?" This led to me thinking, what age can you fix a narrow life? And that night, 7 years ago, lying in bed with my own thoughts, I figured out an answer to that question. But first, let me tell you the biggest lies you're probably telling yourself right now. I have time. I'll do that later. The older you get, the more experience you earn. I see young people in their 20s, 30s, and sometimes even 40s saying these exact things. But let me save you 76 years of regret with this one simple truth. Time doesn't give you a life, experience does. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. What you do in those 24 hours is what makes you different. Because let me ask you a question. When you get to 76, like I was, would you like your grandchild to ask why you have no stories to tell like everyone else? Your chest probably tightens at the thought of that. Because let me tell you something. I spent 76 years climbing the ladder of time, and when I reached the top, I realized that I was leaning on the wrong wall. And you can't just climb down and start over. Life doesn't work like that. Here's something nobody tells you. A safe life is not the same as a lived one. And this is coming from someone who stayed safe his whole life. I worked at the same place for 42 years. I never moved house. I stayed in the same town my whole life. I never left my own country to travel. And you know what? When you're 83 like me, you wish you didn't stay safe. You wish you created experiences for yourself by taking risks. Because now, when my grandson asks me, I have no stories to tell. I had a friend who died 5 years ago, 74 years old, heart attack, gone within hours. At the funeral, everyone was talking about how prepared he was for everything. Then his son went up and said, "My father was always getting ready for life. I don't think he realized it had already started." Is that the legacy you want to leave? Your regrets won't be about the things you didn't do. They'll be about the things you never did at all. I don't lay awake at night thinking about the mistakes I made at my job. I lay awake thinking about the trip to Europe I didn't go on because I was comfortable. The time I refused to see my brother when he moved away because I was scared. The missed opportunities for new experiences and stories. These things eat at you later in life. The people you love, your parents, kids, siblings, close friends. You may think you have unlimited time with these people. You don't. Time runs out eventually. My father died when I was 42, we were close, and when he asked me to go on a trip with him, I said no, not because I didn't want to go, but because I was afraid. It was new, it was a risk to take, and now he's gone. I regret it. I regret the memories and stories we would have created and been able to tell others. After my grandson asked me that question, everything changed. I started saying yes more. I was creating new stories and experiences every day. All because I realized one thing. You only get one chance at life. You need to make it one worth living. In the past 7 years, I have learnt more about life than I did in my 76 years before he asked that question. What matters is so embarrassingly simple. Doing things with people you love. Saying yes more. Taking risks even when it feels uncomfortable, experiencing things, not owning things, being present and creating memories. These things may sound simple, and when I was your age, I would probably have rolled my eyes. Yes, you have bills to pay, a job to attend, things that have to be done. I'm not saying for you to quit your job or forget about everything that needs to be done. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly. If you died tomorrow, would be happy with the stories you could tell, the memories you have made, and the experiences you created. Don't think about other people, what they would think. Focus only on yourself. If the answer is no, then what are you waiting for? What are you doing with your time that means you cannot create new experiences and memories? Because life is precious. I'm 83 years old, and since that day I decided to take action, to stop wasting my life. But every single morning I wake up, I realize I'm on borrowed time. We all are, really. But most young people don't realize this. They think they're invincible. They think they have forever. You don't. I see this in my grandson now. I see the exact same patterns. I see this in most young people today. They're stressed, too involved in school, not willing to take risks, and chasing things that don't make them happy. They're making the same mistakes I made, and I try to tell him. I share what I've learnt in 83 years of life, but he doesn't really listen. This doesn't make him a bad kid, but because he can't. Not just my grandson, but most young people don't see the patterns yet. They think that they have time, that the old rules don't apply to them. That's why I'm making this video, because maybe, just maybe, if enough people see this video, someone will make different choices, someone decides to take more risks, someone puts their phone down to spend time with their parents, someone avoids the same quiet regrets I think about every single day. You are getting closer to death. No one likes to think about this, but it's the truth. Every second that goes is another second closer to death. You don't have unlimited time, neither do the people you love. Your parents, if they're still alive, are getting older each day. One day, probably sooner than you think, they won't be here. So what are you going to take from my story? Keep avoiding challenges? Keep avoiding that experience? Keep avoiding that trip? Or will you finally embrace life and create stories you can tell your grandkids one day? Because at the end of the day, time is the most valuable thing on this planet, and you can never get enough time. And hopefully, if you are seeing this and taking action, you are a lot younger than 76 to finally realize this. If I could go back and talk to my 20 or 30-year-old self, here's what I would say. Stop being comfortable. Comfort is your worst enemy. Stop waiting for things to settle down before you start living. You are already alive. Time goes by quicker than you think. Start saying yes to things more often, even if they involve discomfort. And finally, start creating experiences now. Not next year, not when you finish this project, now. Because you don't know how long you or your loved ones have left. I'm 83 if I'm very lucky, maybe 10 years, if that, maybe 15 if I'm blessed, probably less. And as much as I live with the regret of wasting 76 years, I'm okay with that, because the last 7 years have been the richest of my life. Not because I made the most money, I'm retired, but because I finally see a purpose to life, and I have finally started living intentionally, appreciating every single moment when I'm in one, because I realize that any moment could be unforgettable and turn into a story one day. I've traveled to places, been overseas for the first time, told my grandson stories of my recent years, about all the new things I've been learning and experiencing. I'm happier now at 83, with less time than at 30, with all the time in the world. That's the irony. When you understand time is limited and that you want to do something with your life, you stop wasting your life and you start living it. Actually living it. You have a choice right now, today. Keep living the way you're living, the same ordinary life which never changes, and have your future grandkids ask why you have no stories. Or you can realize time runs out faster than you think, and that you should take action straight away. Start creating your own happiness and create your own experiences. Realize that the life you want to start living, the exciting one you're waiting to start, needs to start now. I can't make this choice for you, but I can say that when you're 83 like me, you don't want to look back wishing you started to live earlier. Don't waste 76 years trying to figure it out like I did. I just told you in 10 minutes. Learn from my mistakes. Live with purpose. Create memories. Experience things. Stop waiting for someday. Someday is today. It always has been. If this story resonates with you, share the video to someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment, tell me what you're going to change. Subscribe, because I have more truths to share with you. If you want your story shared, click the top link in the description to share it. The clock keeps on ticking. What are you going to do?